Here's a picture of a real FN5 turret from a museum, and one of mine, done in black and white just for comparison. I should have added thanks to Tim Nowak for his work on the gun sight. Here's both turrets, the pneumatics being operated by syringes. In the full-size aircraft it'll be high pressure cylinders. The intention is to mount FPV cameras in these turrets to film from the gunner's point of view as the aircraft is in flight. This is the front turret. You can see the plate that the gunner's feet sit on, also the chutes which lead back from the spent case and link chutes, and there's sort of tank at the back which they all fall into, which can be opened from behind the turret to with a canvas screen to get them out. It's just a general view of what the gunner sees. The thing hanging down is a little electronics thing that auto dims the gun sight. My father felt very strongly about this. He, as a boy, he used to take me to the Polish Airmen's Memorial at Northolt. He was ex-RAF during the war as well, and thought the Poles were very badly treated. And come to that, so with Bomber Command. This is a view through the front turret access hatch. And one of the Pyrene fire extinguisher. This should not have been fitted in the rear turret because they were on the fuselage wall behind the turret. In the front turret, I believe that there was one there. This is part of the linkage for keeping the gun sight parallel to the guns. The screws you see are all M1, and in fact the whole model is held together with screws rather than glue. This enabled me to back out of the assembly procedure if required. But it did mean a lot of work cutting threads with tiny taps. The material is 3D printed nylon, which will accept a tapped thread. Some of the Polish cautions, also the T-thermos and lap strap for the gunner. Some of the detail of the hydraulics, where the bullets go into the thing. That's a hydraulic stack, which is essentially the brain of the outfit. Yeah, doing that plumbing took a long time. There's the, I'm not sure they're circuit breakers or transformers. The black large one on top is a camouflaged JST connector. That's the rear turret tub, and you can see the different handle and the trapdoor for dispensing cases to the outside world. That's a detail of the fixings used to hold the perspex to the frame of the turret. So this will give you an idea of the sort of view that's possible when the aircraft is in flight and when the camera is installed. It should be a little bit further forward than this, but you get the idea. So this is the rear turret. You can see the chutes coming down to a unified pipe at the bottom. And some stills are the same, which are a bit easier to see. On the console in the middle, you'll see a placard, a sort of brick red colour. That's derived from a photograph taken from the turret of Arthur Robert at Brooklands. So I like to think, in a sense, it's flying again, at least a bit of it. There's quite a good view of the Bowden cables that go from the control handles to the stack. Guns are hydraulically fired, so you need a cable from the controls to activate a valve to make the guns fire. So a view of the T-thermos holder, also the seat adjuster, oxygen lead, that's a turret lock, looks like a mushroom on the left, stops it traversing when you get in. The pneumatic rams are disguised with 3D printed plastic shrouds to make them appear more closely to the actual hydraulic ones. Good view of the stack there. Gun bridge, aka gun cradle. Various switches, and there's a good view of the linkage operating. Yeah, the bar that you see moving up and down has got threads in it so that I could adjust the throw of the thing to make sure that it was perfectly accurate in terms of keeping the gun sight parallel. Here's a shot of the operating door latch, which I built largely for fun because it was an interesting problem. The doors are held by a bolt you can see on the other door on the left. Also this bolt that comes out from the latch, and then at the top of the doors there's provision to screw the doors shut. This is so that in flight there's no chance of the doors coming open. The front turret rarely saw action as such, but they were a lot of help to the navigator because the front gunner could pass him observations about what relative bearing features were on. In the late war, the turrets had a drift indicator so that when the gunner turned the turret to a particular feature, he could read off the drift and drift angle and report that back to the navigator to plot. And they did the same thing with flame floats over the, except that of course that would be the rear turret, but they did the same thing with calculating drift angles using the rear turret of flame floats over the water. The wiring that you see comes out the top of the turret and will be completely vanished away. That's the traversing ring operated. There's 100 ball bearings in that. Gives quite a smooth traverse. Bilingual cautions. With Czech aircraft, it was obviously in Czechoslovakia. Sorry about the duplicates on some of this, but it was filmed over a number of days and I couldn't quite remember what I'd shot and how. But I think possibly a slightly better view of this bolt operating coming up. You'll see the interior latch as well. So this is the rear turret. The front turret has no interior latch. The poor gunner had to be let out by another crewman in order to exit the turret. And again, a sort of general view of what will eventually be seen from the camera. I won't do the cameras until the absolute last thing because technology is moving along so fast that anything I did now would be obsolete by the time the rest of the airframe is ready. See one of the two grab straps on the stanchion there, that's how the gunners were supposed to haul themselves in, rather than on the sight bar, which is one with a big hands-off notice on it. That was put there because if the gunners did hold onto the sight bar and pull themselves in, it would bend the sight bar, and the gun sight would be hopelessly out of alignment with the guns. So it was standard procedure to put hands off on that sight bar. I'm just lifting the, it's not very clear, but I'm lifting the top cover on the guns. Guns also feature working cocking mechanisms, and they're the facsimiles of the tools provided in scale to do that. You can just see the right hand tool pouch down bottom right there, which contains a pair of pliers, screwdriver, and the cocking handle. The ammunition tank covers are removable. The pins that operate them are very delicate, so I tend to leave them closed, but if you lift them you would see a lot of rounds, and the rest of the box is hollow. In the case of the front turret, that'll be filled with lead shot to help correct the CFG. And any other space I can fill with lead without it showing from the inside of the turret. Yeah, the windows, these curved windows, there's a lot of work involved in making those, making a pattern, then making a mould, then casting that in resin, and then eventually getting it vacuum formed by a local company. Yeah, literally months of effort on that, because I'd never done it before, so it was a little view of the hydraulic stack from the other side. That bar across the bottom is the accumulator which stored the energy that enabled the turret to move, and it was constantly replenished by the hydraulic generator. I think on, if I recall correctly, the port engine of a Wellington as the hydraulic pump. Not the easiest thing to photograph with a cupola on because of the reflections, but if you look at some of the early films on my channel, you'll see clear reviews of the interior without trying to photograph through the perspex. I would recommend one called Moving Rams, and also one the other film I'd recommend is one on about the new Mark III gun sight, which was built in collaboration with Tim Nowak. So again, these are not the easiest things for photograph. I quite like these pictures indoors. So there's the two turrets now ready. They'll be salted away until the rest of the airframe's done. I'll probably ask my daughter to run up some cloth covers for them. On the sewing machine. I see, this is really how I should have done it, and in the open air it's rather clearer. So yeah, about nearly 5 years of work in getting all this working. But good fun and an interesting problem, or set of problems. There are no technical drawings for this that I could find, so it was just an iterative process of drawing it, improving it, trying the next bit, seeing how it works in relation to the first, and so on. Very long process. But I'll be very happy to do commissions if anyone would like either a kit of this or a completed turret. Very happy to do that. It will cost a lot, I'm afraid, because of the Just the printing alone is very expensive, and the time taken to cut all these threads, assuming you have one the same size and same build method, is very time consuming. But I think you'll agree that the result